Hello and welcome to this week's episode of TV POV. I'm Melissa.
And I'm Jen.
Just a heads up, we apologize for not having an episode up last week. We had some technical difficulties, but we may be able to get a little bit of that out to you real soon. We'll do maybe a daily segment from what we discussed. We have a lot of news to get into. We are eyeball deep into season and series premieres right now.
Yes, it's an exciting week.
It's a very exciting week and very exhausting week, but it's like every day's like Christmas. It's amazing. First off, something that we talked about in the first of the episodes that we were back was Greg Berlanti and Ali Adler were developing a Supergirl project, which we were like, this could be good, it could not be good. I mean, Berlanti's done Arrow and Flash, and those have been awesome.
But he also did No Ordinary Family, which I didn't really love, and he helped write that Green Lantern movie, so ouch.
Yeah, but as of late last week, it has a series commitment of all networks, CBS. Yeah. Which was kind of mind-blowing for me.
It's very strange. It does not fit. I mean, they have done a couple creative things every once in a while. Jericho. Mm-hmm. But in general, their network is so full of procedural shows that do predictably well.
Yes.
That I almost wonder why other shows even want to be on CBS. Because I feel like you're just signing your death sentence before you even go to air, because it doesn't fit with anything on the network, and you have to get such high numbers to even compete.
Also, I mean, CBS does have some shows that do well with that segment of the population, like The Big Bang Theory.
I guess that's true, yeah.
So maybe looking at it from that standpoint, it'll work. CBS's audience is aging if they want to start roping in some younger people.
Before all their viewers die.
Exactly. This would be a good way to do it.
What was really cool about the news was that if the commitment it goes through and it goes to air, and if a couple of the shows from this year, like Gotham and Constantine, get a second season, we could see all 5 major networks with a superhero series in the fall of 2015.
Not to mention the superheroes on the digital platforms.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, Netflix has got the Marvel stuff coming up with Daredevil. We've got PlayStation Network with Powers that's coming soon. Yeah. So, superheroes, comic books, everywhere. No one is immune to them anymore.
No, they're definitely taking over the world.
Exactly.
Another piece of news that everyone's talking about this week is that HBO finally confirmed the casting for True Detective, which has been just ever since that ended. It's been going round and round. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? So they've confirmed that it's going to be Colin Farrell and Vince Vaughn. What were your thoughts on that?
I'm not excited or overwhelmed with it. I mean, both actors are fine. Mm-hmm. They both have had roles that I've really enjoyed over the years, but they probably wouldn't have been my first picks. Also, we don't know what characters they're playing yet, so until we know that, I'll reserve my judgment. Everyone assumes that they're going to take over the McConaughey and the Harrelson type characters, but that's not necessarily the case. The one thing that I've seen a lot of talk about online is getting a woman in there.
Oh, yeah.
So,
that would be a shake-up.
I really, really want to see what other casting is going to come from it. And once I see what the actual characters will be, then I'll have a better opinion. Because right now it's just like there are 2 names attached to it.
The 2 leads and we don't know. Yeah. And that is a good point. I think for me, I guess I was a little disappointed for a couple of reasons. One, they went with 2 sort of movie stars again, which I know is where they started with Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey. Mm-hmm. But there were some big TV names being thrown around, and I would have liked to have seen that. There was a Taylor Kitsch rumor that would have been amazing. And the other thing I liked about that was that I liked a little bit of the older and the younger going on, which now they've kind of got 2 guys in the same age range. Yeah. And I kind of would have liked a little bit more young blood, hot blood as well. But,
well, I mean, HBO already has a relationship with Taylor Kitsch. It would have made sense. I mean, he did such a fantastic job in The Normal Heart.
Oh, God.
He's so much more than Tim Riggins. And I'd like to see him in a in a really complex, meaty role.
Yeah. I just don't get the sense that it's really an exciting pairing so far. I think they're both good individually, but I would have liked to have seen, like an older guy, younger guy, or a guy and a woman.
The one person that kept getting mentioned in connection to it was Elizabeth Moss, that I thought would have been really cool.
That would have been so cool.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, it just seems like they didn't really rock the boat with something shocking, and they really had the opportunity to, given how much people were talking about this. Yeah. It was like, how many pictures did you see posted on Instagram with two random people going, True Detective season 2? Yes. Come on. People are, picking, they're really getting into it. So
there was even one that a good friend of mine brought up, that it was Kermit the Frog and Fozzie Bear.
That I would watch.
So would I.
That I would watch.
Kind of a bit of a surprising move, recently picked up for a second season, was FX's Tyrant. And that's totally not something I might have seen coming. I haven't watched all of Tyrant yet. I'm a few episodes in, but it is a pretty good show. I know there was a lot of controversy and a lot of uproar surrounding it, especially that the lead male is not actually of Middle Eastern descent. Yeah. That was a big thing. The portrayals, people saying, oh, maybe this is over the top or stereotypical. Yeah. The female characters, there was a lot of issue taken with the way the females are portrayed, and especially in the first episode, how one of the characters, actually more than one of the characters, were treated. Yeah. So, but the way the series has progressed, I think it's kind of an interesting way to look at this type of story, from inside, not looking at I'm the CIA or something like that. It's a different way of seeing this. For sure. World. And from what I understand, I had seen a panel in Los Angeles back in the summer with some consultants that were brought in for the series that are actually people from Centers for Middle East Studies and stuff like that. Oh, yeah. That were actually saying that the portrayal, the way this is being portrayed, is fairly authentic. So having that kind of added into it kind of made me look at it a bit differently. Yeah,
I haven't yet gotten into this one either, but I was kind of surprised and I guess a little impressed that they gave it a second season. And it's different for FX too, I think. Mm-hmm. FX doesn't necessarily have all similar type programming. Exactly. But there's something about it that just says this is a little different, mm-hmm. and I'm excited that they're giving it a chance to grow, which cable often allows shows to do. So that's kind of cool. Sci-Fi has ordered a 13-episode series based on a book called Alien Hunter. Okay. And it is called, the TV series' working title is Hunter, and it's going to be focused on the uncovering of an alien terrorist network on Earth.
Okay.
Which is so it's sort of like, instead of finding the aliens are coming to invade Earth, they're already here and they're organized into it, they're calling it a terrorist network. Which struck me as a little funny because I think that there's always been kind of a bit of an association between the idea of alien immigrants and illegal aliens and terrorists, and now they're kind of taking that metaphor almost to the next level by uncovering a terrorist organization who are not only illegal aliens from another country, they're illegal aliens from another planet. Yeah. They have to be careful with that, I would say, because that could be, hopefully it's not heavy-handed, because that could be taken as a little racist. But yeah, sure, another alien show. Yeah, like a good time.
When I first heard about it, I'm like, so it's V maybe? Because V
reminded me of V right away, yeah.
And the person who is developing, who's the producer, is Gail Ann Hurd, who is probably, she's been involved in so many science fiction, fantasy type projects over the years. The Terminator series. Oh, wow. And then Walking Dead, most notably. Yeah. It's always interesting to see what she brings to the table, especially because she's not a writing producer. She's not someone who actually writes, whereas most producers, executive producers, are somehow involved in the script development process. She's more of an idea and execution producer.
Which I wish there were more of.
Sci-Fi has a ton of stuff in development right now.
A ton! It seems like they've developed a ton, they're ordering a ton.
It makes me a little bit nervous, though, because it doesn't mean that, some of the beloved series might be gone, like Haven, after the upcoming 2 seasons. Every time I see something new come up for sci-fi. I'm like, is this another nail in the coffin of Haven?
Well, Haven's getting a little long in the tooth, though. No.
Well, they're in the 5th season right now.
That's a good amount of time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not emotionally attached to Haven, so I could see how. But I mean, and even with shows that I watch, sometimes I don't like to see them go too long. I've only heard good things about Haven, and it doesn't feel like it's going downhill. But yeah, you could be right. They could be feeling like a lot of their shows are long in the tooth, and a lot of the shows that they ordered only ran a couple of seasons, so they're looking for a fresh crop of stuff.
Okay.
For sure.
HBO's got a series in development right now. There was a 2002 film called In America, which I don't think I've ever seen.
I didn't see it, but it did get nominated for best, for writing.
Okay.
And it was kind of, I think there were maybe a couple of acting nominations, but I remember sort of the buzz surrounding it.
Okay. So it's about an Irish immigrant family who moves to New York's Hell's Kitchen to build a life, which I think I'll watch it just based on that alone because I just find that area of New York so fascinating.
Yeah.
But another one of these movie to TV, like something that was a film, there's always, something else coming out every year that was a movie that's now being developed into a TV series.
And it's being developed by the same people who wrote the movie, so that kind of bodes well. Jim Sheridan, he was the writer, and it's based on him and his family, and I think him and his daughters are also involved in the project.
Oh, that's cool.
So that is kind of cool. A bit of funny TV development news. So TNT has a Michael Bay project, which I know, in development right now, and the working title is The Untitled Cocaine Project.
Interesting.
Which I think is really, it's kind of the wackiest sort of working title that I've ever heard of. Just Untitled Cocaine Project, like Untitled Stripper Project. And it's
I'd watch that.
Untitled Stripper Project. That'd be a good full name for a TV series.
Developed by Diablo Cody.
Untitled Stripper.
Yes.
So it is based on the cocaine drug trade in Florida in the 1970s. Obviously, nobody get too excited. Michael Bay is attached to it, so it'll probably suck.
Although he was also involved in The Last Ship on TNT, which did fairly well over the past season.
Is it good though? Have you watched it? Is it good?
I have seen one episode. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
I did not love it, but it has a very strong fan base.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, maybe obviously he's busy making Transformers blow up stuff. So perhaps his involvement in the TV projects is a little less hands-on, which is good because you want Michael Bay to take his hands off stuff. I really hate Michael Bay. That's the moral of the story.
Yeah. Outlander fans, we know this Saturday night, well, if you're in the U.S., this Saturday night is the last episode of the first half of season 1. In Canada, we're a couple of weeks behind, so we still have a few left. But they've announced when the second half of the season is going to be starting, and dun dun dun, April 4th, 2015. Within minutes of the news hitting the internet, which was not too long ago, people are in an uproar. They're like, how dare stars, split up the season this way and make us wait so long, and this isn't what we pay for. I don't have a problem with it. I actually would rather have, a chunk twice a year rather than all at once and then have to wait however long for the next season. Also, with how much time and effort goes into creating a season of this. Yeah. They needed that extra time to film the season. This is not good.
That's the main thing.
And if anything, it's been phenomenal so far. And I'm okay as long as they keep producing the quality that they've been doing. I'm totally fine with a 5-6 month break.
Yeah,
but I know a lot of people are not happy at all right now.
Well, I mean, it's worked for AMC. I know a lot of people complained about that as well, and that was even a longer break in between. And I think they already had those episodes in the can. They just did it to be greedy, but it worked. Yeah.
They just wrapped filming on the first season. I think it was yesterday.
Right, so they've got a lot of editing to do.
They've been filming for a year.
Oh, that's
on
amazing.
The first season. So if you want this caliber of a project, you want those characters to look the way they look, and the scenery and the sets and the locations. You have to be patient. I think some patience is required.
Sci-Fi has given more seasons to a couple of its shows.
More sci-fi news.
I know, yeah. Well, they're giving a 3rd season to Defiance, which I guess not too much of a surprise. Once it gets a 2nd season, it's a good shot. And they're giving a 2nd season to Dominion. We were just talking about how much stuff they're ordering. So it's interesting. Now they're giving 2 shows, more seasons. So, I mean, yeah, where's the room? Where's the room coming from?
Exactly. I'm still kind of surprised that there hasn't been Sharknado, the series, announced yet.
They
keep doing the movies.
They announced a really ridiculous...
The Lavalantula?
The Lavalantula, right. So, I guess this is kind of TV news.
It'll be a TV movie.
Right. So, for fans of Sharknado, for people who just like to marvel at the fact that someone came up with Sharknado, in which sharks are somehow attacking places in tornadoes.
Yeah.
Because that's how sharks roll these days.
Yeah.
Now, tarantulas can attack you in volcanoes?
I think it's lava, yeah.
So, if a volcano erupts, it just might be filled with tarantulas.
Yeah. Whereas Sharknado as a title makes sense because it's a shark and it's a tornado. The Lavalantula doesn't quite make sense because
doesn't
it's
roll
lava
off the tongue.
And a tarantula. Shouldn't have been a
Lavantula?
A Lavantula or something like that?
Tava? Yeah,
no, it just sounds like some weird new...
And it doesn't roll off the tongue like Sharknado.
No, not at all.
Plus, was there any huge demand? The thing about sharks is they've got this cult thing, right?
Yeah.
Shark Week on Discovery. People always want to know more about sharks.
Yeah.
And... obviously Jaws, so people wanted to find a way to have sharks attack people in an unusual way, and they did, inside tornadoes. Is it plausible? No. Is it fun?
No.
I suppose it could be.
Yeah.
But I don't think there was ever people going out there going, we need a new way for tarantulas to kill people. Well, instead of doing Sharknado 2 and 4 or whatever, they just come up with new ways, new things for sharks to get sucked up in. I guess maybe because sharks aren't living in volcanoes. But are tarantulas? I don't know. Look, that's too much science speculation for me to put into this.
Before we wrap up the news, we've got some interesting casting tidbits.
Yes, my favorite casting tidbit of the week is that Agent Carter has found its male lead. A Broadway veteran, Shea Wigham, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Shea Wigham.
Yes.
Wigham. Shea Wigham is going to be Chief Roger Dooley, who's in charge of Agent Carter and the other agents in her unit. And this hasn't come to air, and I don't know much about the series, but I'm just excited to see them find a male lead. Some of you also may know Shea Wigham from Boardwalk Empire, where he played Nookie's brother. So there's some high profile there, and I think it's cool that cast is coming together, and I really can't wait to see that series hit the air.
Yeah, there's some interesting tidbits about that character. If you go to the Marvel site, that they more about who he is, because he's not really someone who's been part of any of the film or anything. So what's pretty cool about everything they're doing with Agent Carter is bringing in all these, kind of minor characters and fleshing them out.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited for
There's
that.
There's plenty of material for nerds to salivate over.
Yeah, most definitely. What I'm really, really excited about, I'm sad that Justified is coming to an end after this upcoming season, but they did make 2 pretty awesome casting choices over the past week.
Yeah.
Sam Elliott, who you'll know from all kinds of films.
Yeah.
And Garrett Dillahunt, who first was amazing on Deadwood and on Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles, and who captured all of our hearts on Raising Hope.
Such versatility, man.
He's awesome.
Seriously scary and the most lovable dude.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite people, hands down. Yeah. So they've both been cast as fairly important characters for the season. Sam Elliott's going to be playing a gangster who's kind of been dethroned, but coming back trying to reclaim his throne. And he's the husband of the character that Mary Steenburgen? I don't know.
Can't help you.
I've fought with myself over that since I was born. Yeah. Anyway, she was introduced toward the end of the last season, and he is the husband of this character, and they're kind of seriously badass gangster people.
Nice,
so
nice.
he's usually the gunslinging good guy. So to see him playing the opposite side of things is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then Garrett Dillahunt is going to be playing someone who's a special ops veteran who's now kind of like a private security contractor, and he's going to be causing some trouble for Raylan and for Boyd. So on both sides of the law, he's going to be stirring it up.
Yeah, that's some really exciting casting. Yeah, as soon as I saw that, I almost wanted to put it as my favorite, but I feel like a poser because I haven't actually watched all of Justified. I know.
It's amazing.
So, but the names themselves, I was like, oh, that's so cool. When I finally get there, that will be amazing. Yeah. So I'm glad you chose that one as your favorite.
Mm-hmm. Now, this past week has been, as we mentioned off the top, so many season and series premieres.
Oh, we have a guest! He's a little early. Hi, Jack. This is Captain Jack Barkness. He is dropping by for love and raising a little doggy howl. He's a little excited.
Yes.
Jack, did you want to talk about the series premieres? No? Okay. See ya.
We've got a couple that we really want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
The first one was a series premiere, which was the highly anticipated Gotham.
Very highly anticipated. Very anticipated Gotham.
So, what were your impressions of it?
Well, it's hard with a show like this because it is just a pilot. But I have to say I was a little disappointed in this one. I've heard a lot of positive things, a couple of mediocre things, but I feel like they really tried to do too much with this pilot. And as such, everything felt a little over the top.
Okay.
Because, they introduced this world and they didn't kind of get a chance to really make it feel authentic before all this stuff started happening. They had little snippets with all the villains, but you didn't really get to know that much about any of them. It kind of felt like they were there just as Easter eggs almost to be like, oh, that guy's going to be the Riddler. Oh, dude, she's going to be Poison Ivy. Ooh, which is great, but they have a whole season to do that. Let's roll it out, and they should have focused just on the Penguin, he's sort of the main guy, other than Fish Mooney, who's not, I believe, a character that is in DC lore. It's someone that they've introduced for the series. And so I kind of just felt like it was kind of a whiplash, and I didn't get a chance to really get into it or get attached to anybody. So for me, it was a little bit of a miss for a pilot, I think.
I really liked it.
I know you did.
As it progressed, the first time I watched it, I didn't love it. I liked it, but I didn't love it. But I kind of got what they were getting at with it. It's a huge world and a lot of people to introduce. When I initially watched it, the one thing that kind of annoyed me was everyone introducing themselves. Like saying, I'm so-and-so, I'm so-and-so, I'm Jim Gordon, and
That's true.
And that was the only thing that kind of annoyed me the first time I watched it. But then I'm like, you know what? This is what they took to sell this project, know? So true. I understand why. They're trying to give you a taste of what this world is going to be.
Yeah.
So, yes, we want to tease, Poison Ivy or, Riddler, Joker, all of these different characters. So, I think it's a really neat world to explore. I also like that it's kind of got that fusion of modern with like that old-timey feel. Like, you can't exactly say, this is taking place in 2014. You can't say when it's taking
timeless.
Place. It's really well done that way. And Ben McKenzie is pretty darn good as Jim Gordon. I really like him in that role. Donald Logue is pretty cool.
I love him. I do.
He's amazing in pretty much everything he does.
For me, with both of the leads, I felt like, so Donald Logue and Ben McKenzie, I felt like there wasn't much time for them to develop their characters beyond the immediate needs of the storyline. So a lot of the dialogue and the interaction felt a little hollow because there wasn't this... wasn't a lot of subtle moments. I think that's maybe a good way of saying what I missed. It was all bang in the pilot and not a lot of subtlety. I'm
excited to see how they start fleshing out these characters.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, the Penguin stole the show.
He was good.
He's really, really cool, and I'm curious to see how that's all going to progress.
They
I'm
really
a sucker
cast
for
him.
an origin story. Yes, they cast him phenomenally. And then the casting that came out about his mom, the actress playing his mom, it's Carol Kane. Like, could you get more perfect?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see more of it. It's got a season pass for me. I'm in for the
that's
whole
cool.
ride.
I mean, I'll probably check out a couple of episodes.
A returning series from this past week that I was so excited about, Sleepy Hollow. At the end of season 1, Ichabod was buried alive by his son, who also happens to be one of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse,
and Walter from Fringe,
and played by John Noble, which, oh my gosh, I fangirl a little over John Noble because he's amazing.
He's so good.
And Abby is in purgatory. So they've got some pretty insane odds stacked against them going into a second season, and how they're going to be reunited and get back to work trying to, fight off the apocalypse.
Yeah,
basically.
For sure.
So the new season started off, and for the first, I'd say maybe 10, 15 minutes, I thought I missed something. I thought I was accidentally watching a later episode or something.
Yeah.
It was so trippy because all of a sudden they're back together and there's like a birthday cupcake, and
for a while I thought, okay, well maybe they're doing a time jump on purpose so that we can kind of slowly discover what happened in that year, because a year has passed since the events of the season finale, and so I thought, okay, well that's interesting, but they weren't giving us enough information that it felt like a proper time jump. It was more like, okay, I really do feel like I missed an episode, but it's not possible.
Yeah.
So I was very, very confused.
And then quickly we learned that it's just Moloch and Henry messing with their heads.
Yes.
Trying to get information out of them. Turns out Ben Franklin when he's flying the kite with the key, that key actually has something to do with triggering...
Opening purgatory.
Basically, yeah. So all of these souls that are releasing them all.
Well, what's funny about this show is that it really pokes fun at history.
Yeah.
Because almost every, important American event, this is the guy who invented electricity. Oh, he wasn't really trying to do that. He was just trying to infuse some power into a magic key. So they're really...
He was trying to destroy the magic key.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. He was trying to destroy the magic key.
And... Ichabod Crane was his apprentice.
And he hated him because he was kind of a dick.
Yeah.
He has a lot of animosity towards Ben Franklin because he just kind of hated the guy who was sort of a tool.
Yeah.
So that was fun. But yeah, it all turns out to be a hallucination, a shared hallucination between the two of them, which I did like because I was a little worried that it was all going to be like a dream that he was having on his own because he's buried alive. And they've gone there a lot before. And so I liked that it was a shared experience. So the two of them are both, they both feel like a year has passed, legitimately. So that gives them kind of a shared moment, and it's more interesting than it kind of oh, you were just having a coma dream or whatever it is.
Things are right back on track for me. With the exception of wondering what on earth was in my tea that day.
Yes, Melissa was a little under the weather, and the medicine made her feel a little less pain, but a little more...
and watching Sleepy Hollow is...
Sleepy Hollow is already...
It's already... And watching an episode like that is just like... What but I'm really excited to see where things go. There's just so much stacked against them. One thing that was missing was a certain Frank Irving, who we didn't see at all.
Right, and he was arrested in the finale for a murder he did not commit.
And from some teases that they've mentioned and some interviews going into the season, he's been institutionalized.
Oh,
so people think because of what he's seen and what he's saying he's seen, they think he's insane. So kind of I'm wondering if that'll bring something in with Jenny, because Jenny was subjected to that for so long. Katrina and Headless, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah, that was really creepy. Although I'm really glad, he gave her this necklace he had given her in the past, and it had special powers and allowed her to see him as he was as a man with a head, which was good because I mean, it is kind of creepy to watch someone interact with a headless person. Plus, it's a little one-sided.
Yeah.
So at least he could have a dialogue with her.
Yeah.
That was kind of an interesting way to tackle that problem for sure. Because at first I was thinking, am I going to be staring into this guy's like kind of gaping neck hole for like all of these scenes? Yeah. But no, we're staring into his magical hallucination head, which is better.
So I want to see what's going to happen with that, and of course, Henry Jeremy War he's on the war path. It's interesting, and this was the child of Crane and Katrina, but at the same time, is he so far gone that there's no way to ever redeem him? Is that even part of the game plan? Can they look at him and can they do what will need to be done with him?
I thought it struck a really good balance, as it always does, between the humor and the serious.
Yeah.
And right off the bat, they got that pace right back. I was a little worried it would be a little heavy-handed given the stakes of the finale, but they were able to still get pretty goofy. And in fact, that's one of the things I think that the hallucination allowed at the very beginning, was it allowed the show to start off in a really silly place, which I think is what you needed. Like the birthday cake and him not understanding what it was and what to do with it, and it was just, that was hysterical. What am I supposed to blow it out?
That was pretty funny. It's back and it's firing on all cylinders, and I can't wait to see what kind of a crazy trip they bring us on this year. It's probably extremely high on my must-watch list every week. So I think that actually wraps this week's episode.
Yeah.
We will have some fun little special features coming up over the next couple of days.
Yeah, on the website, which is
watchtvpov.com.
Absolutely. So we're still going to be doing that. We kind of took a break from the website for the last week after our technical difficulties in the episode.
Yes.
To avoid some kind of confusion, but we're back on track, so expect some little segments. I mean, there's so much stuff premiering. There's plenty to talk about, so we'll have plenty to say.
Of the upcoming segments, I'm thinking there may be a Pass the Tissue coming up with the return of parenthood.
Yeah, like every moment of parenthood is a Pass the Tissue. Happy Pass the Tissue, a sad Pass the Tissue. I don't know why I'm still crying for like this whole 40 minutes.
I renamed it 2 seasons ago, the weekly test of my tear ducts.
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah.
That is so true. I'm really excited for that to be back tonight, and it is the final season. So, I mean, if you're amping it up all the way along, if they're really gonna like make us sob, this is the time to do it.
It is, and we were at the ATX festival.
Yes.
And although part of that panel is a blur because the almighty Lauren Graham showed up.
Surprise guests. Like there's a lot of good things that I probably should have been listening to. I was pretty much just staring at Lauren Graham's face. So.
But what I do remember Jason Kadam saying from that was about wrapping everything up in a very satisfactory way for the characters, and maybe bringing some things full circle. And I'm sad that it's going to be ending. I'm sad that, I'll probably be bawling my eyes out for the next several weeks while it's on. But at the same time, I always like when a series gets to end on its own terms.
And I would imagine that with this show, given that it is sort of a family show, that it will end happily. Not that everyone will get everything that they want, and certainly there will be some genuine sad moments for a lot of characters, but I don't imagine it's going to be some kind of tragic ending.
What I am dreading that either Zeke or Camille's going to die. Like, I'm totally dreading.
I hope they don't go there. I think that's a little cliche, having the matriarch or the patriarch die in the final season. I hope they don't go there.
I don't know. I'm kind of nervous that might happen. Some things that, were kind of really taken to some crazy places in the last season, like with Joel and Julia.
Yeah, that
them
I
coming
really
back
hope
together. I'm hoping they get
resolved,
back. There's that stuff. The Hank and Sarah.
I'm totally on board
storyline. I hated it at first.
No, I was never a fan of Mark, and everyone was like, "But Sarah and Mark," and I'm like, it's funny because I fell in love with Hank from the very first episode, and I was like, Ray Romano, ew. Who, by the way, turned out to be so funny at ATX, and I have a totally different view of Ray Romano. But yeah, from the moment I kind of saw him, I sort of jumped on board the unlikely train at that point, which was Hank and Sarah, and I'm glad it's coming back around to that.
Yeah.
He had some great stuff last season.
Oh, he's, I mean, just kind of working through all those issues and his friendship with Max and all of that. I can't wait to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is kind of turning into like a special segment on the Return of Parenthood, which is great because we're really excited about that.
Yeah, that may be one we're chatting about over the
we might save you'll definitely see some stuff on the website.
Yeah.
Watch tvpov.com.
That's it.
Tune in.
Yes, well, I'm Melissa, as always.
And I'm Jen.
And we'll catch you in next week's episode.
Absolutely.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.